everyone. Okay, this is video number 3 of my COVID story. And I think in the last one I had left off where I just gone to the hospital. I was in the second floor, Dad was on the third floor above me with COVID pneumonia, and he also was struggling with Parkinson's as well. So I had multiple shots in my stomach for blood clots, for anti-inflammatory, for acid reflux, vitamins. I had medication to keep my liver numbers okay because they were not good. And my liver numbers actually became worse after I was treated with remdesivir. Yeah. Let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, so remdesivir is a trial treatment medication that has been fast track approved to treat COVID, and it has been significantly proven to help people overcome COVID. And that's a wonderful thing. But before you take it in the hospital, they're required to have you read a sheet that says all the wonderful side effects of remdesivir. And I know these side effects based off of my job working pharmaceuticals. So when they said, would you like remdesivir? You're really sick, we think you need it. And I was like, nope. I'm gonna try everything else first and see how it goes. Then by my second day in the hospital, I was worse and I was not doing well. I felt awful. And I called the nurse back in and I was like, okay, I know the side effects. I was like, I thought about this all night. Like, do I take the medication and risk all these side effects, or do I not take the medication and maybe not make it? So I decided to take remdesivir. And one of the major side effects is that it can cause organ damage, specifically the liver and the kidneys. Yep. And so my numbers for liver went higher. I do struggle with fatty liver a little bit as well, based off of my size, and most Americans that have any form of weight gain have some form of fatty liver as well. They might not even know it. But I did have that, and that actually significantly increased from COVID too. So my fatty liver increased significantly, and also my liver numbers shot through the roof. And yeah, so a few days later, I think I was in the hospital total of 5 days between both times. I was released, and to be honest, I do not feel like I had the level of treatment that should have been given. That's another conversation, but yes, I do feel that. But I was treated and let go. The doctor came in and I still felt very ill, and he said, you're one of the most well people on this floor, we're gonna send you home. And I was like, I understand that I might be the most well one on this floor because it was a COVID floor and there are people coding every night. Like 4 people coded that day with COVID, but I was still sick. But I understand their point of view that I was not that level of sick where I was coding. So they sent me home, very, very weak. At that point, Dad had gotten significantly worse. His COVID had kind of taken over. His medications were no longer working. He was fighting nurses, mom, everyone. He just didn't know where he was. He thought everyone was trying to kill him. He was just a shell of really of who he was, and he was rapidly declining. He had a kidney infection. We think he got out of the hospital. Also a blood infection that he got out of the hospital. Yeah, come to find out, a few other people passed from that same week. So very interesting. And we didn't notice until my dad passed. He passed on December 30th. But on his death certificate, they said that he had encephalopathy as well, which is swelling of the brain. And we were never told that at all by any doctor or physician or nurse. And so that's something that is very frustrating and we're looking into a little bit. But again, another story. So dealing with all of that after being extremely ill already from COVID-1, getting very ill from COVID-2, like really ill, to the point where my lungs weren't working, my heart was still struggling from before, I still have the Sjogren's syndrome, and now I have liver numbers out of whack, I have diabetes, I also was diagnosed with high blood pressure while in the hospital. Good old COVID. So to be clear again, all of my numbers were great before that. I've never had any issue with high blood pressure, triglycerides, nothing. My numbers have always been great. I've always been active, healthy. Even though I was a little overweight, I still kept really good care of what I was eating and also making sure I was exercising too. So I was just shocked because all of these things were falling apart in my body pretty much. And I was very, very ill. And then Dad passed on the 30th. And that is a whole other thing to have to deal with when you are that sick. The loss of a parent is something that changes you. Even though he was sick and we had time to prepare, is what some people would say, you're never ready for that, especially the way that it happened, where you're so ill you didn't really feel like you said goodbye. When we said goodbye, I was in the hospital bed, but it wasn't the same. And having to help Mom through all of that, have people come stay in your house, people come and laugh and tell jokes, and people that you love and you're glad they're there, but at the same time you want to pull your hair out because you're so exhausted and so sad and so sick. I had a massive kidney infection after COVID as well. I also had 2 kidney stones that week that Dad passed. I did stand up and give eulogy for him, and the whole time I shook so bad with the effort of just standing there. My voice was quivering, but my body was too. And the next day, from the effort of that and the steroids, I broke out in hives from head to toe and felt like I'd physically been beaten. And I wish I was exaggerating, but I'm not. I could barely move, and my family will vouch for that. But there was so much that went on during that time. I couldn't comprehend, and to be honest with you, at that point, I was shutting down. My body had shut down so much, and it was like my mind couldn't handle it. I mean, I've always been a very strong person. I've always been able to overcome everything, and I've always been able to look to God, look to God's word, and as a Christian, and I gotta tell you, it was a low of lows for me. I struggled a lot with being able to cope, and the only thing that I found was being able to put things in little compartments. So Dad being sick was a compartment, me having COVID-1, COVID-2, me breaking up with the person that I loved in a box, me being super ill, my family struggling with grief, finding out how to run finances for the home now and do different things that were new and difficult. And I had to compartmentalize all of that, or I felt like my brain was going to explode. And I'm sharing that with you because a lot of times on social media we see the strong side of people and how beautiful they look and how well together their life is put together and that awesome raise they got at their job, making money on the side, or the trip they took to Cancun. But a lot of times you don't see the struggle behind the scenes. And I know I've showed all of you the fun places I've traveled and the things that I've done, but this season of life, it kicked me down hard. And I was not ready to talk about it until this point because I couldn't. I literally could not voice the words. And my family has heard some of it. Recently, my mom and I have talked about a lot of that, and her even saying some things too about what has happened, and we've kind of worked through that, a lot of stuff together. But I'm sharing this with you because being vulnerable sometimes is a good thing. Yes, I know sometimes people can share too much, and if you feel that I've done that, then feel free to shut it off. If you are my true friends, then you'll listen. And I appreciate you listening, and I appreciate those of you that have supported me the whole way through this. So COVID-2, it destroyed me pretty much, and I was very, very ill for a long time, dealing with kidney stuff, and then extreme liver pain. I felt like I had searing hot pain in my liver, shooting up all through my side, still having the heart issues, the dizziness, kidney issues with kidney stones, working, dealing with burials and setting all of that up, and having one car, sharing with mom, and just different things. Like it sounds like, it almost sounds like you can, like I'm whining telling you about that, and woe is me, but these things did happen, and sharing them with you is my way of just letting you know what's been going on. So that was COVID-2. Fast forward to today. I have tried many times to see many doctors in our area, and a lot of them are very specialized in saying, oh, well, you have this, you need to see this doctor. Well, we'll treat this symptom of it. And then that doctor says, oh, well, we'll treat this symptom of it, but you need to see this doctor. And it was just a vicious cycle where I didn't have a doctor that was overseeing everything to see what was interacting with each other, to see what we could fix, to be preventative for things down the road. So I've seen I've done a lot of diet changes, again, pretty much can't eat anything. And I don't eat sugars ever now. Still trying to limit carb intake, trying to make sure gluten-free. I'm trying to follow the Mediterranean diet, especially when I head back home. A very, very strict version of that. That's what the doctors here have given me. So big, big life change. And I kind of got tired of waiting for months and months. And now it's been a year and a half, and I'm still having health issues post COVID-1 and then COVID-2. So I contacted Mayo Clinic, and I sent them my information and said I would be really interested in having an appointment. And you have to be screened first. And what happened was they called me, and I had pretty much a phone appointment where they asked a lot of questions. I told them my story. They asked more questions. They looked into my background medically, and then they said, yes, we think you should come here and get some testing done. That way they would take me on as a patient. So we set that up. I set that up about a month and a half ago, maybe a little longer. For this weekend, I already had some time off for my birthday that I planned. I thought I'll just use that time to fly down here in Minnesota. Well, I've come here, and I've had a lot of testing since Thursday. Today is Monday night, and I have another 2 tests tomorrow morning. I've had MRIs. I've had specialty MRIs with dyes. I've had a liver, it's called an elastogram, where they have these giant paddles, and they take them and they put them on your, and they put them on your sides here, and they actually vibrate and move and shake your liver, and they assess the stiffness of your liver to see if you have fibrosis and what level. We already know that I have fibrosis level 2, which is dangerous. It reaches level 4, that's cirrhosis. So that's one of the reasons I wanted to come and figure out what I need to be doing. I've already, again, health-wise, I've been trying everything I know how. So we were trying to see what was in my lesion in my liver. And yes, I do have a lesion in my liver. It is a 3-centimeter lesion. And through the testing and things that they have done this week, we have found that I actually have a form of a tumor in my lesion. It's called a nodular lesion is what it's called. And it is one of 2 tumors. And the tumors, one is either completely non-cancerous, but it can still be dangerous in a certain percentage of people. If it ruptures and causes bleeding, it can cause a lot of issues if it ruptures. So that's also serious. And then the other one is, could start out not cancerous, but it does a good percentage of them end up cancerous, and most of the time doctors prefer to have that removed. So that is what I know as of today. We've run out of time here at Mayo, and we cannot get more appointments in, and the ones that I need are booked up for well over a month, 2-3 months, some of them. So I have to go back home and have some doctors run some more testing, which I'll have to wait for to get it approved and that kind of thing. So more waiting. But as of right now, I do have a tumor in my liver, which is really hard to say out loud. I'm handling it okay. I mean, how would you handle hearing you have a tumor in your liver and a lesion in your liver? And a lesion's pretty much like it's split down the middle. I do still have the fatty liver as well. My numbers have improved. They've actually drastically dropped, and they're in range at the moment. That's top of the range, but they're in range, and that's a big improvement. My triglycerides have improved as of this trip. They've gone from 626 to 197. So I'm very excited about that. That's huge. Like 626 to 197 is a big number to drop to. So I will take any little win I can get. I was like so excited when she told me that. Today I did have a CT scan because when we were doing the MRI and some other testing, we found that I had some bacteria in my kidneys, my urine, and some of my kidney like blood numbers were off. So we did some testing, and sure enough, I have 2 kidney stones again, and they're actually like lodged right in my back. So I mean, at least that's how it feels. And so if I like catch my breath talking to you during this video, that's why. It's because it'll just be like a shooting pain, and then it'll just go away, and then shooting pain, and it'll go away. And it's mainly on my left side that I feel it. But another thing they found is that I have some cysts in my kidneys. We're not sure what those are at this point, if they are anything, but I do have some blood in my urine that's not visible. It's just traceable for testing. So that is concerning. So either A, my liver is already bleeding and it's coming out there, or my kidneys are having some issues, which is also very likely. A lot of times they're tied hand in hand. I have also been told that I have degenerative disc issues in my spine. That I found out today. And to be honest with you, I'm taking that harder almost than anything else because I wasn't prepared to hear that. And I mean, like, I just turned 37. When you're 37, who wants to hear you have degenerative spine? So, I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm okay, really. Just saying that out loud. That was the first time I've said it out loud. Yeah. I have kidney issues, I have a liver tumor, degenerative spine. I also have some issues. I have hernia, which is probably easily fixable. And then I have some colonic issues going on too, just from everything else kind of going on in my stomach area, but those are fixable too. So I'm not really worried about those two. But the big one today was just a shock hearing about the degenerative spine. And I have noticed that my back just has felt a little weird, not like super pain or anything. I thought that was just from my kidneys, but maybe it was from that too. Anyhow, this is getting long, so I'm going to cut it short. But that's what's going on. Tomorrow I have an appointment, 2 appointments, and then I fly back home. I appreciate all of the birthday wishes you guys gave. I appreciate all of the supportive messages with you guys knowing I'm coming here, and a lot of you wanting to know what's going on and me not telling you. It's just been a lot. This season of life has been a lot, and I wanted to come by myself here this trip, number 1, to process. Number 2, to grieve a little bit for Dad, for myself, and to also think about who who I want to be again. What do I want to be? Like, what do I want to do? I need to find my joy again because it had been gone for a really long time. So I have been going to a church down the road from where I've been going. I still love my other church, but the church I've been going to specializes in recovery care from traumatic events, and it's called a One Hope Baptist Church, a place of recovery. It's literally in the name, and they take you where you are and kind of help you through the struggles and building your life back to reclaiming your life back for God. And that's what I'm working on. So for right now, I just need answers to whether I have cancer or not. It might be a week, month, 2, 3, 4 months before I actually find out. Because of the type of testing that I have to do, it is dependent on if I have kidney issues, because the dye that they insert for that specific test can actually be life-threatening if you have major kidney issues. So for right now, probably gonna have to wait, and they'll just monitor my blood work. But that's pretty much me. I know that was a lot, but a lot of you have been asking me for my story for a long time now, and I wanted to share it. I wanted to just get it off my chest, share it all at once so I don't have to repeat it, because sometimes it hurts repeating it. So if you see me around, smile, say hey. Bear with me if I don't smile back some days, and know inwardly that I still appreciate whatever form of outreach you try with me, even if I don't go somewhere with you one day or whatever, but still ask, because you guys know that I love doing stuff. But yeah, I just want to say thank you, and I could use a lot of prayers still as I navigate this. So thank you so much. God bless all of you. Pray for my travel back to Charlotte tomorrow, and have a good night. Bye.